I got my snack. What are you doing? Go get yours. Oh, you got it? All right, great. So there's this guy. We're going to call him Luke. Now, Luke sent me the story to explain to me why he does not like going to cemeteries. And he doesn't know what he's going to do when, God forbid, one of his, somebody that he knows passes away because he is terrified of cemeteries. It wasn't always like this. See, Luke wasn't afraid of cemeteries at all. In fact, when he was in high school, him and his friends used to go to the cemetery all the time. Why does that always happen? Every time I mean to say cemetery, I always end up saying military. Anyway, so he wasn't really afraid of cemeteries before because, that used to be like a hangout thing with him and his friends. Now, Luke is a grown man. He has a job. He has his own place. Luke is not somebody that scares very easily. In fact, he's an adventurous guy. He's one of those guys that would lead you to the trouble in scary movies. His words, not mine. So one Sunday, he was hanging out with his friends. They were drinking, playing games, right? By this time, it's dark. It's like nighttime. They end up playing Truth or Dare, and somebody dares him to go across the street because there is a cemetery across the street and stand there for 5 minutes. And he's like, piece of cake. Y'all must not know my name. I used to go to cemeteries all the time when I was a teenager. So they're like, I bet, go do it. So he takes him a shot for encouragement. They all go downstairs. He goes across the street to the cemetery and he stands there for 5 minutes. And as he's standing there, intoxicated, he feels like there's something behind him and he keeps looking back and obviously there's nothing there. But he kept feeling like he was being watched and you know how you could just feel a presence? That's what he was feeling. But he brushed it off as him being drunk and he's just probably bugging. So the 5 minutes were up. He did it. He's happy. They go back inside the house. Everybody's saying how crazy he is for doing that. And he's still intoxicated. He's happy, of course. He's like, what did y'all think? Come on. And the whole time he goes back inside, it's like he can still feel that presence. And again, he brushes it off as I'm probably just still drunk. He knows he's drunk. So he's like, that's probably why I'm low-key kind of nervous right now. Anyway, so fast forward, he sobers up a little bit and he drives home. He goes home, and on the drive home, he still has that feeling like something is watching him. He gets home, same thing. He goes to his apartment, and it feels like something is watching him. And at this point, it's starting to freak him out just a little bit. But again, he's still kind of he's sober, but he still has liquor in his system. So he's thinking it's the liquor messing with his nerves. But your guts don't lie to you. And the problem with a lot of men is that you guys don't trust your guts. Anyways, he gets ready for bed because he has work the next day, and he goes to bed. And for some reason, that whole night, he couldn't really sleep. He was tossing and turning. He slept, but didn't really sleep. He woke up still feeling exhausted because he was tossing and turning all night. So the next morning, it's Monday, he goes to work, and he has a very bad day at work. It was one of those days where everything just felt off. And he still has that feeling. He's sober now. He's trying to ignore it, but he can't. Anyways, so that Monday he ended up doing a double shift at work. So he's leaving work pretty late in the night. And this was a horrible double shift. He leaves work, he's aggravated, he just feels off. Something feels wrong, and he just doesn't know what it is. And again, he's still feeling like something is watching him. By the time he gets home, it's already almost midnight. And when he gets home, the first thing he noticed was that his apartment was colder than usual, especially for the summertime. But that's not what struck him. What struck him was the absolute silence in his apartment. No fridge noises, nothing. He's like, for some reason, this silence, it's not like he hasn't had that kind of silence before, but it just felt weird. So he flickers his lights to make sure that his lights are on. And indeed, it's on. So he's like, all right, whatever. So he tosses his keys on his table. And right after he does that, he hears a noise. Now remember, I just told you it was completely silent, which was kind of weird. So the moment he hears the noise, he freezes. He's completely silent, trying to hear if he hears the noise again. And he does. His heart started to race so bad because the noise that he's listening for sounds like whispering. He lives alone, so there shouldn't be anybody in his apartment. The whispering sounds like it's coming from his room. So he's trying to figure out what to do. Do he run out the door or is he bugging right now? So he gathers himself just enough to take a couple slow steps towards his bedroom to see and scan to see if there's anybody in there. He takes those steps, he looks in there, and he realizes that his bed is made. He didn't make his bed before he left this morning. He was feeling so bad, like so tired, that he didn't make his bed. He knows that. At that point, he knows that somebody broke into his house. And as he's about to slowly back away again, his eyes scans his room one more time to realize that there's a dark figure standing right by his bed. So he sees this dark figure standing by his bed. And for a second, he thought it was like a trick from the light or something, right? Because there's no way, like he's in such shock. There's no way that this is happening right now. Right when those thoughts are going through his head that there must be some kind of light issue, the figure standing there turns its head, not towards him, but his closet. And it was at that moment that he was like, oh shit. And he tries to run, but he can't. He is frozen, y'all. Like he wants to move so bad. He said he had never experienced that type of fear ever in his life. As a man, he had never been frozen from fear, and that's happening to him right now. And he's trying to leave. He wants to leave so bad, but it's like his body is not listening. As this is happening, the keys that I told y'all that he threw on the table gets thrown back at him. Hits him right in the face, y'all. And right after this happens, right after the keys get thrown in his face, he hears a growl coming from his room. When he looked back at the room, the figure wasn't by his bed anymore. It was by the door entrance. And he don't know where he found the strength, but he ran. He was trying to run before and it wasn't working, but it worked. He ran out of his apartment so fast, only for him to realize that he ran out without his keys. Where is he supposed to go? How is he supposed to get in his car? The same keys that was thrown at him, he don't even know where it is now. He just ran. And so he's just outside his house, freaking out. Thank goodness his phone was in his pocket, so he called up his friends. Could barely get out, like, what is happening. And he made it, like, he spoke enough to let them know, emergency, like, SOS, I need one of y'all to come here right now. So two of his friends show up, right? And he kind of explains to them what happened. And one of them is not really taking him serious because, like, come on. And then the other one is taking him serious because that's coming from him. Somebody who doesn't get scared very easily. So that made him believe his friend even more because his friend is never like this. So if he's like this, there's something wrong. He refuses to go back to that apartment. He's like, I'm not going back in there. And his friend was like, hey, you can crash at my place tonight until we figure this out. We're going to go inside with you for you to grab a couple of things like toothbrush, clothes, whatever it is that you need. And we'll figure this out. As hesitant as he was, he's like, okay, yeah, if I'm going to crash at his place, I need stuff. But y'all got to come with me. They go back up. They get in his apartment. And the first thing his friends say is, it's really cold in here. And it was. Again, for a summer night, he didn't have the AC on or anything, so it shouldn't be that cold inside. Now, most of his clothes are obviously in his room, and he's terrified to go in there, so he asked his friend to go do it for him. He's like, get whatever. I don't care what kind of outfit you have for me for work tomorrow, but just get me something. You go get it. So his friend goes in his room and gets it, but the friend is like, I feel it. Like, I feel the energy. The moment he stepped in his room, he felt like something was wrong. So now the friend is kind of scared too. So the friend is trying to like quickly get some clothes for Luke. Did we say Luke? Yeah, so the friend quickly tries to get some clothes for Luke because now the friend is freaked out because he can feel the energy. And the friend had to go get Luke's shoes from the closet. The closet that the dark figure turned its head to look at. He goes in there real quick to grab the shoes, and he runs out of that room. So Luke is seeing him run out of the room. He ran out the apartment. He left them both in there. It turns out that the friend, when he went in the closet to get Luke's shoes, he heard something growl at him. You got your snack? Go get it. Go get it. I don't think I ever took this long to post another part ever. I'm sorry, guys. I have really bad wisdom tooth pain. This tooth at the bottom is growing out and it's tearing my ass up. I don't know if y'all could tell, but this is swollen a little bit. I don't know. Anyway. anyways, back to the story. So he runs out the apartment because he's like, hell no. So at this point, everybody runs out of the apartment. And when they get outside is when, like, he's asking, why are we running? Luke was asking that. So the friend tells him, like, I heard something growl at me when I was trying to get your shoes from the closet. And he's like, I told y'all. I've been trying to tell y'all. At this point, the friends believe him and they're like, well, we need to do something about this. Like, you could stay at my place and stuff, but you need to do something about that. So they go over to the friend's place to chill and stuff, right? Mind you, they can't really chill for real because they're terrified. So they're sitting down talking about it, like thinking why? Because Luke is trying to figure that out, but it never clicked to him that it was the cemetery. It wasn't until he started to like trying to figure out when did this start happening, he started retracing his steps basically. And he goes, oh my gosh, I think it's because I was at the cemetery. Mind you, those friends that are there with him was there at that little gathering that they had. But they were all so drunk that they barely even remembered that he did that. So everybody's like, oh shit, like, did you bring a spirit back with you or something? And they asked him like, did you speak to anything? Did you speak to anyone while you was down there? He's like, nah, there was nobody there, but I felt like someone was there. I kept feeling like somebody was watching me. And he's like, but I brushed it off because it's the cemetery. Of course, you're going to feel like somebody's watching you. And then he started to put everything together. He's like, after that happened, I went home, had a terrible day the next day. I couldn't sleep that same night. So they come to the conclusion that it's because of the cemetery. Now, what are they going to do about that? They have no idea how to go about it to get rid of the spirit or whatever it is that he brought back. So boom, they start doing research. They start talking to people to connect them with somebody that can help them. So a couple days later, through a mutual friend, they find somebody. They speak to the person and they tell the person what happened. Well, really, it's just Luke. Luke tells this person what happened and like how it started, like with the cemetery and everything. And the person is like, sounds like an attaching spirit. You need to get your apartment cleansed and you need to get cleansed. Because you can clean your apartment, but that spirit attached itself to you. So they did just that. They got the proper things that they needed. They went over to the apartment. His friends came with him to support Luke. When they first got in there, the first thing that the person that's going to help Luke says is that there's a powerful energy in here because it's super cold. The colder it is, the more evil that thing is. And it clearly wasn't happy that the person walked in because it knows that the person is going to come and get rid of him. So he came in, they did their little ritual. He had Luke walking backwards into his apartment. Remember I told you all about that? He had some holy water with him. Luke said that the guy had like salt in front of the door. Like he sprinkled salt in front of the door. And then he sprinkled salt around Luke. Sprayed the holy water onto Luke. While there were like candles around. Y'all get it. And while he's doing that, the ground starts shaking as if they're having an earthquake. And at first, they thought they were having an earthquake, but the guy was like, it's not an earthquake. It's the thing not happy about being kicked out. And so he immediately tells the friends, like, go open up every window in this apartment. Open everything. And so he continued his ritual. Things started flying off the walls, the couches moving, the spoons and the forks are flying around. And then eventually, it all stopped. The thing left. It left out of one of the windows. Also the door too. He had the door wide open too. So it either left out of a window or out the door. I just hope it didn't just go to the next apartment, you know? But yeah, this is Luke's story. And he said after an experience like that, like he had never, ever experienced anything like that. And he would never step foot in a cemetery again. Unless, you know, one of his relatives passed away. But he strongly feels like, God forbid, somebody close to him passes away and he has to go to a cemetery. He feels like he might have a panic attack. Because, again, he had never experienced anything like that ever in his life. I don't have a snack today, but I do have a drink. So go get you some wine because you know what time it is. There's this little girl. Let's call her Louise. Louise grew up in the house with her mom, dad, her siblings, and her grandma. However, her aunties and uncles didn't live too far, so there was always like family around. So it's always like a full house. Now, for as long as she can remember, her family's religion is witchcraft. Like, they do voodoo, right? That's their religion. The good thing about it is they didn't push it on Louise, but they did take her to certain things like rituals. You know how Christians go to church? They would go to their, gatherings. So that's already established. Now, growing up in Louise's grandma's room, there is a specific closet that nobody is allowed to go into. Growing up, all of the kids, the siblings, the nephews, everybody knows you can go in grandma's room, but do not go in that closet. And if you do go in that closet, if you accidentally go in that closet or something, or it happens to be open, close your eyes. Do not ever open your eyes to look at that closet or what's inside the closet. So that was a rule that was already known in the house. Everybody knows. And because everybody knows the severity of the consequences if you don't listen, especially when it comes to voodoo, people don't take that risk. They know if grandma says this, then that's what it is. We're not going to do that. According to Louise, it's really because her and her siblings were scared anyway, because they know. They know. So one day they have a guest, and the guest is one of her dad's colleague from work. Him and his wife and their kid came over for dinner. Of course, the parents are like, kids, go play. So they're playing, they're having a really good time. Louise is like, oh my gosh, I have this really cool toy that we have to play with. Louise goes to her room looking for the toy. She can't find it. So she goes to her mom to ask her mom if she's seen her toy. And when she asked mom, grandma overheard, and grandma said, oh, I saw that toy. You left it out in the open because you don't clean up after yourself, but it's in my room. Louise is like, okay, great, let's go get it. So they go to grandma's room, they find the toy, and as they're about to walk out, the other little girl that she was playing with, let's call her Angie. Angie is like, I have an idea. Let's prank your grandma. So Louise is like, what do you mean? Angie's like, let's call her into the room and we hide in the closet and we just jump at her so we could scare her. Louise is like, oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. Let's prank her, but let's stand behind the door and do it. Angie's like, no, the closet is way better. And she starts walking towards the closet. Immediately, Louise is like, no, don't touch that doorknob. Angie's like, wait, why? Why am I not supposed to touch it? Louise is like, because that's like, grandma tells us not to go in that closet, so we should leave. Angie's like, why? It's just a closet. Louise is like, trust me, like, grandma, that's a rule. We're not supposed to go in there, so let's just go. Grandma says not to go in there. And Angie goes, oh, what if there's like a secret treasure in there? Louise is like, I don't think that's what it is, but I really do think we should leave the room. And Louise walks out so that Angie can follow her. Angie does. It works. She follows her. They go out there. They play with the toy. They're having a good time. After a little while, Angie's like, I have to use the bathroom. Louise is like, oh, okay, cool. The bathroom is right there. I'll be here. Like, I'll keep playing and you come back when you're ready. So Louise is playing and she's playing and she's playing. And she's starting to realize that it's been a really long time that Angie been in the bathroom. So she goes to the bathroom. She knocks on the door like, Angie, are you okay? Nothing. Angie, are you okay? Nothing. And so she twists the doorknob and it's unlocked. And she goes in there. Angie's not in there. So she's like, huh, well, that's weird. Where could she be? And instantly that conversation from earlier came back to her head. And she's like, no. And she runs to her grandma's room. And there she was. She was standing there facing her grandma's closet. That's the moment that she realized that the closet door was open. So she immediately closes her eyes and she runs to her grandma to tell grandma what happened. So immediately panic starts settling in. Everybody runs to the room. Before they could get there, grandma screamed, do not go in there. She told everybody to close their eyes, even the parents. Now, the parents are confused. They don't know what's going on. They ain't trying to hear none of that close your eyes, don't ask no questions type thing. So they tried to go in the room to find out what's wrong with their daughter. So Louise's mom and dad had to both hold them back from going to the room. And at this point, it's complete chaos. Grandma tells them to take them downstairs. She tells the kids to also go downstairs and stay there. She gets a red bandana from her pocket and ties it around her eyes. And she goes in the room and closes the door behind her. And after about 20 to 30 minutes, grandma comes out with Angie. Except Angie doesn't look the same. Like, she looks the same, but she's just like blank-faced. Her parents were asking her, hey, Angie, are you okay? Are you okay? What happened? What happened? Are you okay? And she's not speaking. She's just standing there blank-faced. Obviously, a huge fight broke out within the families. Dad's co-worker and his family, they had to leave. They got kicked out. So immediately after they leave, they go to the hospital with Angie to find out what's wrong with her. And there's nothing wrong with her except she won't speak. According to Louise, Angie never spoke again for the rest of her life. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get your snack. I'm not going to wait for you, so you better pause this video and go get it. Not only is this a story time, but it is also tea. My bad. The buzzing y'all hear is me getting my foot massage right now. Y'all see that? Go get it. In fact, let me turn it off. So, there is this lady. We're just going to call her Neighbor because she's not really the main character in the story. But Neighbor has a daughter, and daughter plays with the neighbor next door's daughter. And because they be playing together, the daughter next door be telling her daughter the tea about what's going on in her house. And boy, mind you, both of these families are Haitians. So, upon these kids playing with each other, this is what's going on. Little girl that lives next door lives with her parents, obviously. Her parents are married. They even have a baby on the way right now. The wife is pregnant. However, the dad, being the Haitian man that he is, he took a trip to Haiti, a trip for a month. If you know, you know. And while on said trip to Haiti, he meets this girl out there. And yes, this is going exactly where you think it's going. He cheats. This is his new girlfriend. This is his Haiti girlfriend. If you know, you know. So every time he goes to Haiti, that's his girl. They are in a full-on relationship. She's telling everybody my man lives in the United States. My man be sending me money from out there. My man is gonna fly me out and file for me so I can go to the United States. Mind you, Shorty don't know that he married. So he keeps this relationship low-key. His wife has no idea. They are happily married as far as she's concerned. They have a whole baby on the way. They're expanding their family. Until... Hey, Ray, that was for you. Somebody from Side Chick's family filed through the Biden administration thing. Now, she told her boyfriend about this, but he didn't really take it seriously, you know? She told him that somebody was filing for her. He doesn't even know if she's gonna make it for real. She used some of the money that he was sending her to get her passport. If y'all know, when the Biden thing first, the news first got out that first day, people were literally damn near unaliving each other for those passports. The whole time she's telling him about this, he hears her, but he's not really you ain't really about to come here. Oh, but she did. She did. She got the answer back. They said, come. Biden said, come. And the family member that, filed for her happened to live only one state away from where he was living. She was about only an hour away. And she gets to the United States. She gets to her family member's house. She calls him. She's like, hey, guess where I am? He's like, where you at? She was like, surprise, I'm in the U.S. He's like, what? You lying. She's like, nope, FaceTime me. And she FaceTimes him and she shows him that she is indeed in the U.S. She's happy. She's thinking she's about to be with her boyfriend. They're about to build their lives together. She's even thinking that they're going to move in together because that's the vibe that he was giving because they were in a whole relationship. But he was going based off of she's always going to be in Haiti. So I'm going to keep getting away with this until he couldn't because now she's here. And she knows his address because his dumb ass used his address as part of when he was sending her stuff. She's like, I can't wait to see you. I'm going to come see you. My sister's going to drive me to come see you. And he freaks out. He hangs up on her and blocks her on everything. I mean, everything. But that's if we want to find out something, we're going to find it out. So she's clearly confused. She's like, why did my boyfriend just block me on everything? After I just told him that I'm here, I surprised them. So it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that he was married. She put two and two together because again, he's a Haitian. That's what they do. She went to do her own research on Facebook. She had her family members in on it, gave them his name, how they used to communicate on Facebook and WhatsApp and all of that. They find out that he's married because they find his Instagram and his wife is on there. His kids are on there. Well, just one kid, but the pregnant wife picture is on there. Now, the fact that he was married hurt the girl, but the fact that the wife is pregnant is what did it for her. And not in the way that you think. It wasn't I'm hurt, how could he do this to me? It was more this is my man. I don't care that he's married. I just got to get rid of her. So she's like, okay, bet. I just got to get to work. This is my man. I don't care what nobody said. Married or not, this is my man. So she's like, you want to block me, right? Bet. I'm about to have you begging for me. She did, y'all. She did. She sent some money to Haiti. She did what she had to do. And about a month later, the dad starts acting weird. Him and his wife are arguing all the time. Mind you, this is all according to his daughter. He's getting angry very easily. He's just acting so weird. Mind y'all, some of this information, the daughter ended up finding out after, when everything blew up, which I'm going to get to. So after a little while, guess who gets a phone call from him? Side chick. Now, not that she wasn't surprised, she was expecting him to call because she did what she had to do to get her man back. So the phone's ringing, and she's probably looking at the phone like, about time. But she doesn't answer the phone. He calls her a few more times, and she does not answer. Matter of fact, she didn't answer him for like a week of him calling. And then he called again, because for some reason, he could not stop calling. He could not stop thinking about her. Nothing else mattered right now but her. Things are terrible at home. Y'all get it. So she finally answers the phone. She's like, what do you want? He's apologizing. I'm so sorry. It just took me by surprise. Every excuse in the book that you can think of. Now, she doesn't tell him that she knows that he's married. She's just going along with it. She's acting heartbroken. How could you do that to me? You're supposed to be my boyfriend. I came to a whole other country for you, and you just ghosted me. How could you do that? You hurt me. And of course, he wants her to forgive him. He's gonna prove to her that, he can be the man for her. He's playing this game smart, y'all. She doesn't tell him, y'all, that she knows that he's married. She knows. She's playing a long game. And so they plan on meeting up. He drives an hour to her. They go out to dinner. He should have never linked her because that's when she's going to really lock in the witchcraft that she did back in Haiti. And so she does because they sleep together. She prepared that whole apartment for him, y'all. Not in the way you think. Not like she cleaned up. No. From the moment he stepped through the front door, there is something by the door waiting for him. When he sits down on the couch, there's something under the couch. When he lays down on the bed, there's something under the pillow. And then there's a magic potion. We're going to call it a magic potion, but there's this witchcraft magic potion that she rubs all over her vagina before having sex with him, which really locks it in. They do the do, and after they do the do, he is crazy about her. Mind you, he didn't really love her. That was just his side bitch in Haiti for whenever he go to Haiti and he want to have some fun. But now, my boy is feeling like he's in love. And he don't understand where it's coming from, but he just knows he's in love. At this point, he's ready to leave his family for this girl. She's happy. It's working. Everything is working. She gonna get her man. He's starting to spend time with her more and more. He's leaving his wife back home pregnant. She need help. He don't give a damn. He's with his bitch. And eventually he goes home and he tells his wife, I want a divorce. Mind you, that poor lady, she is completely blindsided. She doesn't understand what is happening. She's pregnant. One day they're good. One day he just he's not himself. He doesn't love her the same anymore. He doesn't cook for her anymore. He doesn't kiss her forehead anymore. And poor baby, she's pregnant and she's crying every day. She doesn't know what's going on. So when he told her that he wanted a divorce, she's like, bro, what did I do? Like, why are you all of a sudden acting different? And is there somebody else? He was honest. He was like, yeah, there is somebody else and I want to move in with her. So a wife is obviously devastated. What about our family? What about our daughter? What about our other kid that's on the way? He's like, I'll always be in my kid's life. I just don't want this marriage anymore. And obviously, she's devastated because he's dead ass. Her family just crumbled right in front of her eyes while she has a baby on the way. I can imagine that kind of pain. So she goes to church. She tells her family about it. Her family tries to speak to him, and he's standing on what he said. He wants to be with his other bitch. And eventually he does. He moves in with her. And so when that happens, the wife's family, she was Christian, of course, but families always have people especially in Haitian community, you have your dad's side is completely Christian and your mom's side is they do voodoo. So then the side of her family that does voodoo is this seems really we can see voodoo when we see it. So they're like, we're going to find out what's going on with him. So they went and did what they had to do and found everything out. Everything that had been going behind her back, everything. And they come back to the wife and they say, hey, this is what was happening behind your back this whole time. The bitch is now in the country. That's why all of this is happening, because she's in close range with your husband and she's dedicated to take your husband. What do you want to do about it? Because we can get rid of this bitch now. Because her voodoo doesn't compare to our voodoo. So you let me know what you're trying to do. And so when the wife finds out, the wife is like, if this was going on behind my back this whole time, I think I want a divorce too. Now that I got some closure, now that I know what was going on, you've been a cheater and I don't want to be with you. And so basically the wife is like, well, she can have him. She want him that bad. She can have him. That's fine. I'll get a divorce. And so the family's like, okay, cool. To her. They said that to her. But they weren't serious, because after they said, okay, cool to her, they were like, yeah, you're not about to get away with doing that to my niece, my granddaughter, So they did what they did again to reverse everything back to her, not him, because they already know how that's gonna go. They know the type of voodoo that she's doing on him is gonna backfire on her anyway, and he's gonna lose himself. But because you knew that man was married, you found out he was married, and you still decided to stick with him, they were like, we're gonna get you too. So fast forward to about a year later, the wife gives birth, they do get a divorce. But on that side, that relationship is super freaking toxic. Like, they are so toxic towards each other. Oh, I need to mention also that his parents, like his family, disowned him for what he did. Especially after their relationship started being as toxic as it was. They were like, yeah, you're dumb as hell. Why would you cheat on your wife? You have a perfectly fine wife. You had a family. And about 6 months after that year, he ends up unaliving her. Yeah, the side bitch. And he is now in jail. I got my snacks, so get yours, baby. Y'all will never unbig y'all backs fucking with me. So this actually happened in DR. Person that submitted this story, their grandma, the story is really from their grandma's hometown. So in DR, the hometown that they're from is called San Felipe. That's where her whole family's from. Anyway, back in the day in that town, there was a lady that was known for voodoo. People, like everybody, feared her and stayed out her way because they know not to mess with her. This was like a known thing. Like the kids wouldn't even play close to her house. None of that. So anyway, one day, one of the family members that lived around like the town, they were having somebody coming from the States to DR to visit them for like, I think it was like 2 weeks. Yeah, it was 2 weeks. I don't know why Miguel didn't get, that's the person that visited, that's the family member. His name's Miguel. Miguel, like nobody told him about the lady. And I feel like it's because they felt like they shouldn't have told him. At the same time, like, give him a heads up. Anyways, Miguel was born here in the States. So he didn't really know, like he knew about his culture. He spoke Spanish, of course, but he didn't know how deep that it goes back like in your hometown. So one afternoon, Miguel decided that he's going to go take a walk. And so he does. And not knowing that that's that lady's house, he takes a walk and he walks past the lady. The lady happened to be sitting on her porch. And so he's walking past and the lady's just looking at him walk past. And for some reason, that bothered Miguel. Miguel like looked back at her kind of like, what are you looking at? Miguel was on the phone too. I forgot to mention that part. So when he walked past and the lady was looking at him and all of this happened while he's on the phone. And so when Miguel looks at him with the look like, what you looking at? He says on the phone like, yeah, some old lady just keeps staring at me. And he says it in English. Now, you know, like if you visit out there and you know your language, try to avoid English as much as possible for your safety. But Miguel didn't do that. So the lady's like, okay, you're one of them spoiled little kids from the States. Bet, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. That's all it took. It only took Miguel to give a look and say who she thinks you're talking to. I mean, who she thinks you're looking at. You know, you get it. Everything's fine. Miguel goes home. He goes to sleep. He wakes up in the morning and he wants to go outside. And the moment he opens the front door, he sees a doll. There's a doll sitting in front of the door. The doll looks exactly like him, wearing exactly what he's wearing. So he's like, there's got to be some kind of sick joke. Like, who think they funny? And he grabs the doll. He goes around to his family members like, who did this? Who did this? And the entire family's like, nobody did that. Like, why would we be like, no, we didn't do this. And so he goes to his grandma like, they playing a game with me and they don't want to tell me that they're playing a game with me. And when grandma saw the doll, grandma was like, where did you get that? He's like, yeah, it was at the front door. Grandma's like, he looks exactly like you. He's like, yeah, I know, I get it. That's the joke. Grandma's like, this is not a joke. Drop that thing right now. And she slaps it out of his hand. Grandma instantly starts interrogating him. Who did you speak to? Did you speak to anybody? Because again, grandmas be knowing. He almost even forgot about it, but he remembered and he told grandma about the lady. And the grandma started asking him, was the lady wearing this? Is she this? Are these her facial features? To figure out if that was the lady that was known in the town. And he's like confirming everything. And grandma's like, oh my God. Like, what did you say to her? He's like, I didn't say anything to her. I just like was wondering why she was looking at me because she kept staring at me. And instantly, grandma knew. So grandma immediately went and got help, got some of the family members together to tell them what happened. Everybody's like, oh shit, like why? You don't know the custom around here and you come here walking around asking people why are they staring at you, like giving people attitude. So everybody got on his ass about it. And now he's scared. He's terrified because he didn't know it went this deep. As the day is going past and everybody's talking about it and they trying to figure out a way, like they're trying to figure out if they need to go to her, but nobody wants to go to her because they're that scared of her. They start to notice that Miguel's skin is starting to turn gray. And the more his skin started turning gray, the more his breath started being short. And that's when they realized like, oh, we probably don't have no time. We need to do something now. One of the family members calls up his pastor. His pastor comes over to pray on him because at this point, like, he's starting to get bad. And the pastor is praying and praying and praying, but nothing's happening. Like, he's not getting better. At this point, he's really having trouble breathing. And so somebody says, like, we have to go over there and apologize on behalf of him and let her know that he's not from out here, so he doesn't know how it works. So they agree on that. They go over to the lady's house. They knock on her door. She comes out and they immediately start apologizing. And she's just staring at them the whole time. Like each and every one of them are apologizing. The boy's over there gray and can't breathe. And so once they're done, they're like, so are you going to forgive him? Like, the lady looks at them and was like, it's too late. And she closes her door and went back inside. They knew better not to stay. They knew they had to go. After she closes her door, get off her property. So they went back home. Pastor is still praying and praying and praying and praying. He prayed damn near all night. And then everybody decided to have a break and go to sleep. And they all surround him, you know, to make sure that he's okay. They didn't take him to the hospital because they know what was up. They knew the hospital wasn't going to be able to save him. And so in the morning, when everybody wakes up, Miguel is gone. He's gone. He has disappeared. No doors were open. No windows were open. He was just not on the bed anymore. Mind you, people surrounded him. They were next to him while they were sleeping. But he's not there. But you know what was there? That same doll. That same doll that he found the first time was sitting right in the same spot that he was laying in. And y'all want to know the even crazier part? No one ever found Miguel ever again. No one dared to try to go question the lady about it because they don't want to end up like Miguel. Okay, so just think about it for a second. Hear me out. It's a Sunday morning. You just woke up. It's your day off, so you have nothing to do today. Eat your breakfast. You take a shower. You go to the kitchen and you grab your snacks because you went grocery shopping before and you bought some snacks for this exact moment. Get your snack. You go on the couch. You kick your feet up. You pick up your remote. You turn on the TV. You go to watch your new favorite show that is produced by your favorite storyteller on TikTok. You've been listening to her stories for the longest, and the fact that her stories are now turned into a TV show brought to you by Netflix, yeah, you're excited. You turn on the show, and there she is telling you to grab a snack as if you didn't already have your snack. I'm just manifesting, y'all. It's gonna happen though. Just wait on it. And I know this was just a transition. I started the video, I got interrupted, and now I'm just now finishing it. Anyways, wouldn't that be great? What time is it? It's story time. I'm about to scare your ass, so grab your snack. I'm about to scare your ass, so grab your snack. Grab your snack. Let me stop. Hey, y'all. This story has me on the edge of my freaking seat. Mainly because I'm in it. I'm the reason. Let me explain. So I often make videos and I tell you guys what dreams mean. And one of the videos that I made was when I was explaining what having a dream of a snake, especially a black snake, means. Mind y'all, this was a couple of years ago. Anyways, let's fast forward. Let's get into the story. The girl that submitted the story, let's call her Tisha. Tisha is African American, Black American to be more specific, so she doesn't really know much about witchcraft. So a little background, Tisha and her best friend, let's call her Kira, had been friends for a very long time, like since elementary school. They are now seniors in a high school about to graduate. So they both trying to get their things together, like for prom, graduation, grades, all of that. So one night, Tisha had this really strange dream. She had a dream that she was in this forest, and it was this dark forest, like the energy was bad. It was out of a scary movie. And she was walking through this forest, and it was nighttime. And the silence was just so scary that she found herself in the dream, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm scared. And so as she's walking and she's trying to figure out what's going on, like, where am I? The ground underneath her started moving. So she looks down like, oh shit. And she looks back up and there was a snake. She saw a snake, a black snake there. Obviously, she's terrified. But the thing is, the snake is not moving. It's just there, staring at her soul. And as much as Tisha want to move, it's like she was glued to the floor. She could not move. And all of a sudden, the snake jumps at her and wraps itself around her leg. And she woke up from the dream. Obviously, that was terrifying. So she woke up terrified, like, what the hell? That was about the scariest dream I ever had. And ever since that dream, like, she couldn't even go back to sleep. She just stayed up till school the next day. And when she went to school, she couldn't, like, fight off this unsettling feeling. Like, it was just this heavy, heavy feeling on her shoulders that she couldn't just shake off. Over the next few days, strange things started happening around her. Like, doors would creak open, windows that were left closed would probably be open, or the other way around. Lights were flickering. It was just like weird little things that make you question yourself. So at the end of the school week, she decided, I don't even want to go home. So she goes to her best friend's house. She gets to Kira's house and she starts to explain Kira the dream and how she just can't fight this feeling off. When she told her best friend Kira that, she expected Kira to like be comforting her. But instead, Kira is just trying to brush it off like, oh, dreams are just dreams. Like, it's not that serious. When she's saying that, it's almost as if she was smiling a little bit and her eyes seemed way too calm. And Tisha noticed that. And she took a little bit of note of that, but she didn't let it go. She couldn't let it go. Every day the dream kept replaying in her mind. And she kept, like, she had that image of that snake that she saw. She told a couple of other people about, the dream, right? And y'all know how when you talk about something, a video about that thing comes up like on your For You page or on Instagram or something. That's exactly what happened to her, except it was my video. My video popped up and she had just had that dream. And she even commented on there and trying to reach out to see if I could like tell her what it means. But she basically went down my page, got caught in a whole like rabbit hole. And she started doing research and she found out the meaning of having a snake in your dream. She's like, who the hell could this be? Like, who could be like doing this to me? I can't think of anybody. Of course, she's not thinking of her best friend. So she's excited to tell Kira about this, right? So over the weekend, she goes over to Kira's house and her mom lets her in. But her mom lets her know that Kira will be right back. Her and her father went to the store real quick. They're best friends. So her mom is like her mom. She's like, okay, cool. She goes up to Kira's room to wait for Kira to get to the house because she can't wait to share this tea with Kira. She couldn't wait to show Kira my page so Kira can follow me too. So as she's in Kira's room, just hanging out, waiting for Kira to get home, she remembers that Kira has one of her sweaters. And she's like, let me get this now because this bitch is never going to give me my sweater back. So she goes to Kira's closet. She's looking for the sweater. And she stumbles upon this weird looking journal. And something is telling her, open that journal. But she's also like, this is my best friend's journal. Like, this could be private. I don't want to invade her privacy. But that's something that was inside her telling her to open that journal is like, open that motherfucking journal. And so she opens the journal and she starts going through the pages. And she slowly is realizing, these are spells. What the hell? Why the fuck does she have a spell book? And as she's flipping, she's like, this bitch is doing witchcraft. Like, she's flipping and flipping. And she stops at a page that has something folded. And she unfolds it. And it's a picture of her. It's a picture of Tisha. And when she looks at the page have different spelling, like different kind of like spells. And there's a piece of, she's assuming is her hair in there, in the picture. It was at that moment, everything clicked. Everything clicked. She said she remember watching my video and I said 9 times out of 10, it's somebody close to you. If you have that snake dream, 9 times out of 10, you have a snake in your circle and it's somebody very close to you. What time is it? It's story time. I'm about to scare your ass, so grab your snack. I'm about to scare your ass, so grab a snack. I'm about to grab your snack. Get me started. Don't get me started, I tell you. So she's standing there in this girl's closet. Yeah, we're getting right into it. She's holding this book. And she's in disbelief because this is her best friend. Far from her mind that it would be her. So she's in disbelief and she has to act. And she has to act soon because Bestie is coming back very soon. She doesn't know if she should confront her about it. She doesn't quite know what to do. So she puts the journal back and at this point it's fuck the sweater. She's sitting there on her bed and she wants to leave. She doesn't even want to be here anymore. And so as she gets up to try and leave, Kira comes back. Kira's like, hey girl, mommy told me you were here. She's like, yeah, I've been here for a little while, but I was actually just about to leave. And Kira's like, you came all the way over here just to leave? Girl, please. And then she looks at Tisha and she sees that Tisha's kind of serious and she can clearly tell that something's wrong. So Kira's like, are you okay? Tisha's like, mind you, in her head, like everything is going in crazy in her head right now. She's in her head like, do I say something? Do I leave? What do I do? I can't believe this is happening. And so Tisha's like, yeah, I'm just really bothered by that dream I told you about. And Kira's like, girl, I keep telling you, it's just a dream. By the way, I saw the video you sent me from that girl from. She's like, I love her mermaid story times. Like, it's so crazy. So Tisha's like, oh, so you already follow Blizzy? She's like, yeah, I already follow her. Like, I love her content. Tisha's like, did you see what she said about people having dreams of Black Snake? That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. So Kira's like, I think I did see that video, but I don't remember what she said. And Tisha looks at her and she says, Blizzy said in her video, when you have a dream about a black snake, it means that somebody is doing witchcraft on you. And 9 times out of 10, it's somebody that's close to you. And she's looking dead into Kira's soul saying this. Kira takes a pause, realizing the tone in which she said what she just said. Kira doesn't even answer the question. She just goes, Tisha, you okay? Tisha's like, no, I'm not actually. Kira knows her best friend, so she's like, what is it that you want to tell me? What is it that you want to get off your mind? And so as scared as Tisha was, she swallowed her fear. She took a big gulp. She says to her, why are you doing witchcraft on me? And Kira's like, what are you talking about? Tisha's like, exactly what I said. Why, as my best friend, are you doing witchcraft on me? Again, she knows her best friend and she sees how sure Tisha is about this. So she knows that Tisha knows. And she immediately looks at her closet and she goes, did you go in my closet? Tisha didn't even have to give a response for her to know that, yeah, she saw that journal. And immediately she starts blacking out. Like, she started blacking out on Tisha, like, why are you invading my space? Why are you reading my personal things? She immediately starts to gaslight. And Tisha's just standing there, like, looking at her like, you're still not answering the question. You're saying a whole bunch of nothing, yet you have still to answer the question that I asked you in the first place. Why, as my best friend, are you doing witchcraft on me? Kira is like, get the fuck out. Get out of my house. I need you to leave right now. Tisha's just standing there like, damn, for real? Kira's like, if you don't leave my house right now, I'm gonna fuck you up. Tisha's like, damn, for real? So there's a whole commotion. Parents come in and they try to resolve the situation, but it's not because Tisha's asking one question, Kira refuses to ask. The parents are like, what are y'all talking about, witchcraft? Parents are looking at Kira like, what is she talking about? Tisha's like, oh, why don't you tell them how you're doing witchcraft on your best friend in the whole world? Kira's like, this bitch went in my closet and read my personal journal. Long story short, Tisha leaves. She's hurt. Like, she's hurt. This is a breakup. She goes home. This is her senior year, y'all. As if she wasn't stressed enough. She tells her parents about this. She tells most of her friends about this. Some of her friends believed her. Some didn't. You know, they picked sides. And for the rest of that senior year, Kira made it a goal to try to undo any and everything that Tisha was doing. She even tried to steal Tisha's prom date.